Hi everybody, Ghost Critic, it's Thursday, it's a comic review show! Oh, you know, this might seem like a crazy notion, but I just wish one week a comic would be so bad that I could just absolutely slate it and, you know, drive it into the ground and just tell you it's rubbish, don't pick it up. But it's really difficult. There's so much good stuff out there at the moment. And again, I've got five comics this week to review. And they're all, in their own way, pretty spectacular. First one I'm going to start off with this week is The Amazing Spider-Man. And where we've got the epilogue of Spider Island, issue 673. And it's difficult to actually review this without spoiling a lot of it. So I'm going to say up front now, if you've not read issue 673 yet and you don't want me to spoil it for you, you want to read it and enjoy it firsthand rather than from what I've said, stop now, go and read it, or fast forward this video for a couple of minutes until you see me hold up the next comic, which will be OMAC, issue 3. So I don't spoil anything for you. Okay, spoilers, here we go. Epilogue. First off, lovely cover, nice homage to the old Spider-Man No More. You've got all the different spider costumes draped over, being left behind, because yes, now that Spidey saved the day, he's managed to turn everyone back to normal instead of these huge big spiders. And the start of this is just hilarious. Dan Slott just throws so much humour into the start of this book that, you know, I was in stitches reading this first part. I mean, Hercules strutting his naked stuff around the carnage that was the dead Spider Queen. I just laughed my head off all the way through. We find out a few little bits in here. The Jackal is still alive. Yes, I'm going to use the C word. It was a clone! Yes, the Jackal, the real Jackal, was keeping himself way back in the background and just watching it all and letting his clone get killed by the Spider Queen from the last issue. So he's taking off bits and pieces of the Spider Queen to make more experiments with and mess a bit more in the future with Spider Island. So we certainly have not seen the end of the Jackal yet. Oh lordy, aren't I glad Carly moves out. She's had enough. What a bitch. Oh, I've never liked her from the moment I saw her. I came in kind of midway with the whole .1 issue, so I didn't really know what's happened to her in the past. But you know, yeah, she's worked out Peter Spidey. She isn't happy that he didn't tell her. Oh, I've been lied to so often in the past. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. Not for one second thinking, why didn't Peter tell me? Like he didn't tell everyone else for years and years. He was protecting you, you silly. Really did not like Carly, and I'm glad she's out the door. Phew. We have a little bit of segment with Doctor Strange, because obviously, you know, Spidey's upset about Carly going out. Why? So he wants Doctor Strange to, you know, boost the spell up that made everyone forget he was Spider-Man. But apparently this was only if Spider-Man didn't tell anybody. And he kind of told everyone when he did the little web thing, telling everyone in New York to, you know, bear arms and all that with their spider powers and go and save their city. So Doctor Strange's spell was kind of weakened, and now people can find out if Spider-Man is Peter Parker, which makes for an interesting storyline for future. Again, Madam Web messes around at the end with Spidey's head, leaving cryptic clues. Again, nice little setups for future storylines. I've had just such the greatest time with this title. Dan Slott, with every issue, he's not missed a beat. Ramos, his artwork from the past, the main storyline was just fantastic. Caselli was back on this issue and he didn't disappoint. Caselli's artwork was still just as great. Really, Marvel, Dan Slott and Jason Aaron, look after them well, because they are doing a bang up job on your titles. Treat them very well, keep them throwing out these fantastic storylines. I can't wait to see what Dan Slott's got in line for us next, and it appears that it has to do with the Vulture. If you've not picked this up, if you've not got a clue what I've been talking about, you have to pick up the trade of Spider Island. You will have the time of your life. And with that, we go on to the rest. And that wasn't even my pick of the week, by the way. OMAC issue 3, and I'll tell you what, if Didio and Keith Giffen want to do this kind of story, issue in, issue out, you know what? I am fine with that. This was so much fun. It's just like every issue is going to be a big smackdown, and it's just been done so well, so exciting, so bold, so bright, so colourful. Leave your brain at the door. You do not need this. You do not need it for this issue or any of the titles in this this run. It's just pure comic goodness. In, yes, a kind of Kirby-esque art style, which I'm happy with now. I was a bit get your own style, but I'm loving the kind of retro Kirby look, and it was just fun. There's nothing wrong with just being fun. There's a little storyline kind of going in the background with Maxwell Lord. We've got this sci-fi man who could become a future potential recurring villain, which is great. But you know, it is what it is. It was OMAC being thrown into prison, or his human side being thrown into prison and turning into OMAC and having a big fight. It was brilliant. I loved it. Again, not the pick of the week. Batman Detective Comics issue 3. I still have a little problem with this. Not as great as the beginning. And it still has a lot to do with where the continuity is with Batman. We have been told that he hasn't really been rebooted all that much, which then leads me to think, especially given the last couple of issues and how easily Batman has been kind of duped each time, whether it be, you know, careless knife wounds or being drugged, having to escape because he can't handle what's going on. It seems this Batman's very naive, not as wised up to, you know, Gotham and all his rogues gallery as he used to be. So that for me kind of turns me off a little bit. The cover really annoys me. Can someone show Tony Daniels how to draw teeth? If you have a copy of this, just have a look at that mouth and the teeth. He's done it before and he's done it again now. He's given Batman some sort of jagged, feral, gnashy kind of big teeth, and it just looks wrong. It's almost, excuse me, it's almost demonic in a way, and it just looks out of place. Just stick to the writing, Tony. Leave the artwork for someone who clearly knows what they're doing. Obviously not the pick of the week. Almost making pick of the week, Swamp Thing issue 3. I was seriously on the fence with this for for the last 2 issues. It had nothing to do with the fact that, you know, the Alan Moore saga and how fantastic that was. I had already pushed that aside. I knew it wasn't going to be Alan Moore. I wanted this to be something new. I wanted it to be something different. And it is. To begin with, it just wasn't what I expected, what I hoped. And something wasn't clicking with me. With issue 3, a lot happier. And I could say I'm pretty on board with this now. Creepy kids, more in depth about the Red, Rot, what else is in there? Abigail, very strange kind of setup there, how she was introduced, but still probably made sense in a sort of way. But yeah, the creep factor, the sick factor, the violent dark factor, it's still there, it's still on high alert, and it's just a great title. I think this title from Scott Snyder is really going to go from strength to strength, and would certainly suggest you start looking for this and the other couple of issues beforehand. So, what's pick of the week? I think you probably already know, given what came out this week and what I have been absolutely raving about with every issue. And oh my god, this did not disappoint. My pick of the week is, of course, Animal Man issue 3. Let's start with the cover. If you think that is pretty screwed up, just wait until you just turn the first page. This is a tour de force of just surreal, bizarre, just demonic, crazy crap. It really is. And every page you just have to look and stare and think, am I really looking at this? I don't know what drugs Jeff Lemire took in his younger days, but seriously, the guy, I would never, you know, you say I'd love to live in someone's head and just see what goes on just for a day. No. Jeff Lemire inside his head, who knows what else is in there if this is what he ends up putting on pen to paper. You learn so much in this issue. You have the totems, which I guess is, you know, the Red's version of the Parliament of Trees for the Green. We are even now still getting connections between the Green and the Red, and there has to be some sort of crossover between Swamp Thing and Animal Man on the horizon, because we have this the big bad, which is the Rot, which clearly likes living in both the Green and the Red. Though apparently the Green, which we found out in the Swamp Thing, has quite a calming influence on the Rot and isn't as persuasive as it is in the Red. What I think is great about this as well is, you know, the supporting characters are still not forgotten about. Buddy's wife and kid back at home, his son, they're in danger from one of the 3. In the Red, Buddy and his daughter, they're fighting off the other 2 from the 3. And you start learning more about Maxine and her role and what she could or may or should become. A little bit of a kind of a reboot in the way that Animal Man apparently got his powers. I won't spoil that for you, but it's apparently not the original way, which is when aliens took him and messed around with his DNA, though that is still implied, but from a different angle. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Unbelievable. I was just like, wow, with every page. Pick it up. And that's it for this week. That's all the comics. I hope you enjoyed them. Again, as always, if you're new to my channel, this is the first video you've watched, there's a subscribe button up there. Give it a click. Down there, there's thumbs up, and there's a comment box. Tell me what you got. What did you think of the comics that I reviewed this week? Have fun this weekend. I've got a day off tomorrow, so I will post some more videos. I have a huge eBay and comic book store haul. I've got some great bargains this last couple of weeks, and we'll see another comic long box sometime over the weekend too. And with that, I'm out. Bye, boys.